to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, August 6th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. If we threw up a poll on Instagram later today asking which open athlete you were most excited to see make their Olympia debut this year, I'm guessing that we would see Blessing Awodibu's name somewhere near the top of the list. By and large, Blessing's camp has been relatively quiet for the last few weeks. But when you consider the fact that Rami's been more visible than he's ever been, Andrew Jack suddenly burst onto the scene, and we still have Michael Krizo lurking somewhere out there in the darkness, it makes sense that we haven't seen his name dominating the headlines quite as much lately. But as we've seen from day one, this guy has one of the biggest personalities in the sport, which means that what we're seeing right now might just be the calm before the storm. Well, the Legion Sports Festival is just under 5 weeks away now, and that roster is already shaping up to be a good one based on some of the preliminary names that we've heard so far. And if you're a Classic Physique fan, you definitely want to make sure that you're tuning in here, because it looks like Stan Longeaux is about to drop the hammer. He's been training out in Vegas at the Dragon's Lair with Flex Lewis and the whole crew for the better part of the last year. And the improvements that he's made over the stretch are pretty remarkable if you look at the before and afters. Outside of the 5 or 6 big names that tend to dominate the headlines in Classic Physique, there's a huge group of guys in that next tier who are all capable of winning almost any show on the schedule on any given night. So if Stan shows up at the Legion locked in and ready to go, a return trip to the Olympia stage might be in his future. At this point, the start of the NFL season is literally only a few days away. And if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you're probably chomping at the bit because Vegas has your team as one of the early favorites to make it to the Super Bowl. And even though I'm sad to say this segment isn't going to feature Josh Allen, who's absolutely incredible just for the record, we do have a former member of the Bills Mafia who looks like he's ready to make a statement now that Abner Logan is on his way back to the bodybuilding stage. According to reports, the former Buffalo Bills linebacker turned Classic Physique Olympian is 6 weeks away from stepping back onto the stage for the first time since 2020. Now granted, the division has changed a lot over the last 2 years, but the last time we saw this guy on stage, he placed 5th at the Chicago Pro a few months before he placed 4th at the Arnold Classic. But the last time we saw this guy on stage, he placed 5th at the Chicago Pro, and a few months before that, he placed 4th at the Arnold Classic. So he obviously has enough tools at his disposal to compete at the highest level. And if he spent the last 2 years plus working on filling in the holes of his game, then he might be another name that we can add to the list of X factors who could end up being a big factor in this division as we head into the second half of the season. And our last update of the day comes to you courtesy of Quinton Eriya, who seems like he's been putting his post-show rebound period to good use. The last update that we saw from Quinton's camp at the tail end of the last week was one of the most impressive from him that we've seen yet, because he has all the added fullness to go along with those crazy lines, which makes him look even more like a real-life cartoon character. Given that it was already on everyone's radar heading into the season, it's probably not fair to call him a breakout star, but he's definitely a breakout adjacent, because what he's done so far has really cemented the fact that he's one of the premier young talents that we have in the open bodybuilding division. And here's the thing, there's still a lot of season left to go, which means that we might not have seen the best he has to offer. Stay tuned. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.